Hello everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, based on your time zone, and welcome to the first session of the second day of ICICT 2022. Dear authors and invited guests, welcome to the third technical session, 3B, on behalf of the Global Knowledge Research Foundation. It's my great pleasure to welcome all of you to the 7th International Congress of Information Communication through Zoom. Further, as you are aware, we moved to digital version of the conference due to some circumstances related to pre-COVID-19. We wish that you and your family are safe. We hope that you will enjoy the rest of the second day conference. As a soft reminder, as a ground rule, each one of the participants will have 10 to 12 minutes, so 3 minutes would be left for the questions and discussion. If you have any question, you can push it to the chat and I will share it on your behalf if possible. At the beginning, I would love to welcome the chair of this session, Professor Melis. Professor Melis has a great profile, but in brief, he's the author of Digital Economy Ecosystem. Professor Melis, he's also specialized in political economy at Estonia Business School, and previously he was the head of Foreign Research Center. So thank you, Professor, for being the chair of this session. And now we are moving forward to the first presenter to make sure that we are making most of our time. We will start with the first paper. Yeah, with the first paper. Yeah, we will start with the first paper titled as Application of Physiologic Sales Inventory System as a Literature Review. It will be presented by Mr. Putu on behalf of the co-authors. I will stop sharing from our side and it's over to you, sir.
Okay. Thank you for this time. I will present my paper. My name Putu Andika Sebagai Putra from Indonesia.
Yeah, most welcome. Could you just share the screen from your side? Yeah.
Okay, I will press.
Yeah, F5 and go ahead. All the best.
I will present my paper. The title is Application of Physiologic in Sales Inventory System Literature Review. Introduction. With the advance of technology, many ways have development to deliver the product. The number product made is experienced by several factors, including fee factors, number of worker, transportation, manufacturing method, demand, inventory level, and various items that the company have to provide from this product. Production system where limit resource, limit control, opportunities, and response time delay. Industry need to control its product cost, inventory allocation, decision in a distribution system, concern issues such as how much and where stock should be assigned to order the supply chain. You can use a various method to determine how much of your product is production. For example, using the FASI method, inventory control using FASI set theory has one advantage in reduce number of setup and stock out research method. This paper discuss the journal such technique used in the literature review. Question about conducting a journal review according to the keyword and search term in the journal took the method used, and much more. Then journal used for literature evaluation were obtained from the university journal, provide database via Google Scholar. Uh, the author opens the journal website. The authors then select a journal that is opportunity to the topic under study. The 7 journal are selected for the author. The author applicated problem that the author use is the journal of the company inventory system that applies logic. The author use all research design used to identify factor that increase the optimization of the production. Okay, research. In the research conducted by K. Hereva, application of physiologic interference system to determine number of the product purchased purchase based on inventory and sales data. The paper use method, the application used Sakamoto method, which in used to analyze input data, get decision based on the problem component. Study effect and dialogue in determine the number of product purchase. Is especially based on to total stock and sales record several conduction withdrawn, namely physiologic Mamdani. In knowing the number of product purchased from inventory that have been built can use to assist in making selection with factor cost 44.49% for testing the data. Physiologic Mamdani that has been built can help careful in knowing the number product first for the stock following demand. In research conducted L. Satya application of the Fasi-Mamdani method for decision support in determining the amount of product of latak sijimat. The method Fasi-logic is a method of computing primarily based totally on range of facts. This can be normally set to authentic or false or 1 or 0. Fuzzy good adjustment is a counting technique with variable words in place counting with the number. This study was conducted to obtain the best prediction of the total production of latak sijimat. To obtain a strong prediction of the amount of product, the procedure for calculating the amount production was complete using a good Mamdani Fasi assessment. Technique, the benefit of using this assessment technique are that the idea to easy to understand, flexible, and use guideline as important and display a tolerance for in irrelevant data. In research conducted by Winarti, decision support system in determine stock good is using fuzzy. Method using study makes use of fuzzy Sakamoto. The result this study are to facilitate the activities of the Kemilau shop in the demand for goods supplier so that the stores can order good properly. Research conducted by Aziza, implementation of fuzzy logic in optimizing good inventory using Mamdani method. The optimize the exciting inventory and the advanced style. Fuzzy logic with the Mamdani method can be used. The use of fuzzy logic is need optimize the inventory of good at advanced style so that the inventory is not extensive. The research method use the method of literature study and data analysis. Based on data analysis, I can be it can be consolidated that the most effective stock in is obtained by calculation the use of the Mamdani method. The consequence of recording accuracy that's done manually or using MATLAB is 83.3%. The research conducted by Afina Anurlah Fajrin, optimization of product inventory and order quantity with fuzzy logic in PT Hilti Nusantara Batam. The method approach use the Mamdani approach called the min max approach, stock location and minimal cost of every rules and most cost of the combined outcome every rule. The application of the Mamdani fuzzy informations system on the system created can increase efficiency in the number of order. With more efficiency, order can affect the price of goods and the value warehouse inventory as well as a long period of time at PT Hiltili Nusantara Batam. Research conducted by Billy Krisdianta Kosasi, decision support system for determines good order using Sakamoto fuzzy logic. Case study Studio Foto Kencana. The application used Sakamoto method which is used to analyze input data to get a decision. Based on the research that has been done, it can be concluded that the selection tool for determining the order good using fuzzy Sakamoto logic can assist the selection of Foto Kencana owner in providing instruction for determining variance of the order. Research
Thank you, and I'm sorry for interrupting you, but you have 2 minutes more.
Okay. Research conducted by Julio Warmansyah. The application of Sugino method for decision of the raw material inventory. The research is using fuzzy Sugino method. After apply the fuzzy Sugino method in finding the end inventory for ideal prediction of the optimal raw fabric stock to use the raw as the raw material inventory in the next period. Conclusion and suggestion. The fuzzy logic approach can be used anticipate the ups and down of the company production by calculation raw material uh, production so as to get optimal amount of final stock to be used as raw material inventory in next period. Thank you. Any question?
Thank you for the presentation. I will start with a question from the chat. Afterwards, I will hand it over to Professor Melis for his question. So the question is about how many sources or articles have you found on set logic and inventory management? Was there a change over time in the number of articles? So it's about a summary of the statistics, number of articles when it comes to systematic literature review.
Okay. Thank you for the question. How many research the article you found on using the logic in inventory management? I used in my paper. I used 7 article to create this paper.
Okay.
Was the okay? Okay. And was there the change over time number of article decrease? The article, sorry,
Yeah, looks like that the question is about the trend or the change. If there is any change or trend pattern in the number of papers.
then I used the
If you need to look back and post it on chat after the presentation, it's fine. If you don't remember the exact number for each year, for example, it's fine.
okay. To question 2, the
Yeah, question 2, you passed what question 3 now. Did you somehow classify quality journals in the lecture review?
I use journal 7 journal, not increase or decrease.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'm sorry. Yeah. So I'm sorry. It's over to you, Professor. If you have any question or anything that you want to add.
Actually, those were my questions that I posted on the chat. So I asked 3 questions, and I guess my general comment is that it probably helps to somehow sort of more summarize your literature review rather than to go over one by one each article. So that would be, are there any similarities, differences? So somehow group your literature review. And then my second point would be that, definitely to pay attention to what kind of, quality, of the journals have. I mean, we have different ways how to classify journals, by impact factor and so on. So I think that's also something to keep in mind. But those 3 questions were actually from me. So in the chat. Thank you.
Yeah. It's well noted, and you have commented on them and on the answer. So thank you, and I hope that you will consider them in the future development of the paper to make sure of the journal ranking and the rest of considered points. Okay, then moving forward to the next presentation. Now we will listen to a presentation considering citizens' use of social media, a thematic analysis on digital co-production in disaster management by Mr. Vikant on behalf of the co-authors. It's over to you, sir. We are all listening, all the best in your presentation. Sorry, looks like he left because he was here, but maybe he has a connection issue. So I will move forward and get back to the presentation. So moving forward, and I'm sorry for the short notice, we want to discuss the next paper, which is digital design and evaluation of novel and modular education robotic platform based on technology acceptance model. The paper would be presented by Mr. Avram on behalf of the co-authors. It's over to you, Mr. Avram.
Okay, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. I will stop sharing from my side and
I will share my screen. 1 minute to share. Okay.
Okay, perfect. We can hear you clearly, see the slides, all the best. Go ahead, please.
Okay. Hello, my name is Avram Hajopoulos, and I will present you our paper entitled Design and Evaluation of a Novel and Modular Educational Robot Platform based on Technology Acceptance Model. In this slide, you may see the contents of this presentation. In this research, we design an open, easy-to-use robot platform for educational applications focused on primary education. It is the sequel of an action research cycle on which the development of these robots is based. The impetus for the need to develop this robot came from the evaluation of qualitative and quantitative research data collected during an educational and robotics events with significant participation of students in Athens, which showed an intense interest in students in participating in educational and robotics activities, but at the same time recorded the low involvement due to the high cost of educational robots and robotic platforms. Our proposed robot is open, modular, expandable, scalable, easy to use, and low cost. Additionally, we present initial results regarding the evaluation of the usage of the robot under the technology acceptance model. The term educational robotics is an approach to science, technology, engineering, and mathematics education known as STEM that defines a broad knowledge area and refers to a collection of robot platforms, educational programs, activities, resources, and learning theories. Educational robotics is a useful and innovative tool offering students a hands-on practical understanding of, excuse me, practical understanding of the daily life things that do not fully understand, such as actuators, sensors, as well as failures and problems related to software and hardware bugs. Educational robotics requires students to design and program a robot and create its parts and helps them to develop motor skills, coordination, communication, social and mathematical skills, as well as learn to code and program. The first move towards educational robotics is to select and use an appropriate robotic platform, robotic device, or educational robot. In the market, there's a big variety of such tools, and choosing the appropriate one depends on the available supported educational activities to help the students to fulfill specific pedagogical objectives. These objectives can be parted into two basic categories: building a robot and handling the robot. Consequently, we may distinguish two basic types of robotic tools: programmable robots, such as Vimeo, Edison, Bebot, etc., and robotics construction kits, such as Lego, WeDo, Spike, Mindstorms, MakeABlog, etc. The programmable robots are usually mobile wheeled robots based on the original Puppet's turtle and his Logo programming language concept, while the robotics construction kits are building blocks used to make a robot. In addition, several robotic kits work and are programmed by popular microcontrollers, such as the BBC's Microbit, which is a programmable device introduced for purely educational purposes, the famous Arduino, which is a low-cost open-source electronic board with a microcontroller, the Raspberry Pi, which is a cheap computer with a credit card size, and of course many others. However, many of these well-known robots and robotic kits and other commercial parts usually have the following limitation. The robot is costly, thus is not affordable to all. The robot cannot be expanded with more sensors and or actuators. The robot is not open source and it cannot be expanded in terms of software and hardware by its community. The robot cannot be customized to promote the A factor, meaning the art factor in the STEAM term, and the robot cannot be used without specific software or hardware and or use the internet for its programming. So a new question is arise. Do we need to develop a new educational robot? In November 2019, the municipality of Agia Varvara in Athens, in collaboration with the University of West Attica, handled an educational robotics physical event to help students and their parents learn about STEM education and educational robotics. Pre and post questionnaires were distributed to record students' and parents' views and their interest in educational robotics. The results were particularly interesting. 50% of the participants know about educational robotics and 86% know educational robots, particularly Lego. 83% had not participated in an educational robotics seminars in the past. 80% would like to get involved and develop their robot, and 55% would have unlimited time to complete it. Furthermore, 67% of the parents want to get involved and support their children in robots development. And that was this research motivation to go on designing and developing a robot platform suitable for the whole educational community, where its specifications were extracted by the combination of quantitative and qualitative data collection and analysis tool. Moreover, the following data analysis results shaped the following robot specifications. The robot's hardware should be low cost. The robot's hardware will be free from difficult to find electronic parts. It must use as much open source hardware and software as possible. It can be easily programmed by any home device. The user would not need to download and install any software in order to program it. A block-based language will be embedded into it, and it can be easily assembled by anyone and expanded with future sensors and actuators. The proposed robot's block diagram is shown in the figure. ESP32 is used as the main microcontroller of the robot. It is a low-cost, low-power system on a chip that integrates Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, and it can perform as a complete standalone system. Although the primary idea was to use the popular and low-cost Arduino Uno, the ESP is a better choice because it has the same low cost and it comes with enhanced features and peripherals. In addition, it's also programmed in C++ through the Arduino IDE. ESP32 is responsible to provide the robot's wireless access point, to act as an intermediate web server serving the user device's requests, to provide the robot's user interface to the user's devices, to read users' visual programming language commands and convert them to robot directions, to control the robot motors, to drive the robot actuators and read the signals of the robot sensors, and it is used for every other robot's task. As shown in figure one of the main advantages of the robot is the multi-user operation, meaning that many users may have access to a single robot. However, this can be easily configured and only one user can control a single robot. The multi-user specification is chosen in case there is only one robot available to a student class, so to give access to all students. However, the spec will be a little confusing when applied in practice, so it may be switched off via the robot's firmware. Robot Cell, Form and Save was designed using Tinkercad, an online cloud-based and free 3D software used by the educational community. Previous versions of the robot cell were based on the other free designs under the Creative Commons license. However, the authors of this paper found the concept of an open, freely provided robot cell as a starting point to be more creative for the students. In the future, there will be a collection of new robot designs and cells based on animal or other figures that can be easily replaced according to the community's needs. Figure 7 shows the various robots used. The next step in the development of the robot is its evaluation. The technology acceptance model, TAM, was developed by Davis. TAM tries to explain and predict the acceptance of information technology by people. The TAM model has 4 basic factors which explain the technology acceptance: the perceived ease of use, the perceived usefulness, the attitude towards use, and the behavioral intention to use, which leads to the actual usage. Figure 8 shows the relationship between the factors of the model. In this paper, we present the initial part of the results for the factors of perceived ease of use. The robot
Sorry for
was used by...
you, but we have 2 minutes more.
Yes, 3 slides. 3 slides.
Okay.
The robot was used by 120 ASPETE students, a school of pedagogical and technological education in Greece, where its graduates will be the future teachers in primary and secondary education. In a script to evaluate its handling, students were given a series of 10 moves that the robot should perform on a map to evaluate the robot's handling by students of different gender and different field of study, humanitarian versus science studies. In the factors of perceived ease of use, we were focused on the below hypothesis. Hypothesis 1, there is no difference between gender and the use learn of the robot. Hypothesis 2, there are no differences between the field of study and the use of the robot. Upon completion of the test to evaluate the robot's use, we shared the TAM questionnaire to the students and we received 116 answered questionnaires. We will proceed the answered questionnaires using the open statistical software Jamol. From the received 116 answered questionnaires, 56 were males and 60 were females. As well, 65 had a background in science studies and 51 had a background in humanitarian studies. Initially, we evaluated the difference between gender and the use learn of the robot. The result of the test Man-Whitney U is shown in below table 1 and indicates that there was no significant difference in performance between gender and the use learn of the robot. Secondly, we evaluated the difference between the field of study and the use learn of the robot. The results in table 2 of the test indicated that there was a difference, a significant difference in performance between the field of study and the use learn of the robot. The results of the primary development are the following. The robot is not costly, thus is affordable to all, can be expanded with more sensors and or actuators, is open source and can be expanded in terms of software and hardware by each community, can be customized to promote AA factor, can be used without specific software and or hardware, and does not require internet access for its programming. The result of the first part of the evaluation was shown that there is no difference between gender and the use learn of the robot, and the use learn of the robot depends on the field of study between humanitarian studies and science studies. The next step of this research is the implementation of the complete TAM model process. So thank you very much for your attention. I would be very glad to answer your questions, or you may email me to the following email address.
Thank you, Mikis, for the presentation. It's over to you, Professor, if you wanted to ask anything.
Oh yeah, thank you. Thanks so much. I actually posted quite a lot of questions on the chat already. There are at least 3 questions. And I mean, my first question would be that what are the next steps? But you already somehow discussed it in the conclusion. But I mean, also if you work out a solution, it needs some kind of organizational form. how you will move forward. So my question was that do you plan to launch some kind of specific company or organization that would help you to scale up offering those robots to schools, or what are the kind of, organizational plans in addition to research? I understand that you plan to do more research on the robots, but anything else?
Yes, we don't have make any, we don't think about that. At this point, we try to improve our robot. We try to record the acceptance by the students and their teachers and the parents and the whole education community. And then maybe we try to evolve, I don't know, to collaborate with some companies. We don't have made any plans about this kind of future.
Yeah, it seems to. Yeah, it seems to me that some education technology organizations or companies might be interested in that type of solutions, not just in Greece but also elsewhere in the world. So maybe it would be would be a good thing to consider collaboration. But my another question I had is that in terms of adoption, I mean, how much or how important do you consider visual design of robots? So here I say visual design rather than technical design. So engineers are often very good in technical solutions, but they maybe tend to ignore visual design.
Yes, it is very important. It is very important. That's why in the questionnaires we have include some open questions and ask from the students to draw the robot, how they imagine the ideal robot. I have this, I can share you these images. They are very interesting. And this was the spark to use an open 3D software like Autodesk, so the students have the access to draw the ideal robot and just change the robot cell. So we think that it's very important, the visual design. That's why we left for the students to design it and to promote also the A term, meaning the art term and STEAM education.
Great. Yeah, I mean, just to comment on that, I actually live in a neighborhood where we have a lot of delivery robots on the street. They are developed by a company called Starship Technologies, which is actually backed by the people who founded Skype. And I know that they spent about 1 year just for the visual design of those robots. And the result is that actually, if you look at the school children, they absolutely love them. They treat them as pets. They're not some kind of ugly robots roaming on the streets, but school children, they stop them, they hug them, and so on. And I think it's really important in that sense that students, when the robots are attractive to them, then the students start to adopting them as a part of their environment and treat them really, really nicely and want to work with them. So.
If you are interested, you can send me an email, and I will send you a chapter that I wrote with these designs, the students' designs that they are inside this chapter, and maybe it's more useful for you to understand how we are thinking about what we are thinking about the design of the robot. Okay.
Excellent. Thank you. Thanks so much.
You are welcome. You are welcome.
Thank you, and thank you for the great job, and the discussion was really informative to everyone. So moving forward, however, the topic is really interesting, but moving forward, we will go to discuss another side of the technological development, considering assessing the effect of landmarks and the routes on neurocognitive load using visual environment, presented by Mr. Osman, on behalf of the co-authors. So it's over to you, Mr. Osman, and I will stop sharing from you, my side, all the rest. I think you need to play it or just play it. Okay, okay. Could you please unmute yourself? Press on the mic sign on the bottom of Zoom. If you can't see Zoom, press on the Windows.
Hello?
Okay, okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you clearly. Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Good morning. My name is Usman Al-Hajj Abdurrahman, and I will be the one to present this a very important topic, thus assessing the effect of landmarks and routes on neurocognitive load in the virtual environment. Well, for the introduction, one of people's daily routine is navigating from one place to another. Thus, be it from home to work or place of work, or from friends to shop and so on. So while navigating, people tend to make sequences of decisions, like going straight, turning left, or turning right. This is called a route knowledge. Apart from route knowledge, there are other essential informations, such as metrics and features that are needed for effective navigation. Metric information, such as turn angles and distances, is acquired from sensory sources, while features such as landmarks are mostly perceived visually. In the course of finding, people tend to make, on average, 1 error per week, which with about 49% of those errors occurring when people tend in the wrong direction. Metric and future information are needed to reduce the number of mistakes during navigation, as they play a vital role in enriching people's knowledge. Future information such as landmarks affect our ability to navigate effectively, as they provide a positional and orientation information. Landmarks show spatial information of future objects and reduce users' cognitive load and promote users' navigation efficiency. The hypothesis we had in this research, the first one is the use of insufficient landmarks and difficult routes would elicit an increase in psychophysiological metrics, which cause the participant to commit more mistakes. The second hypothesis, the use of sufficient landmarks would reduce the number of mistakes participants commit during the navigational exercise. Navigational efficiency of routes with sufficient landmarks would be significantly higher than that of routes with insufficient landmarks. And another hypothesis is easy cognitive workload. Thus, the high cognitive load will negatively affect the participant applying the knowledge acquired at the beginning of exercise. For the method and experiment, the number of subjects we used in this experiment were 79 undergraduates, which comprised of 36 males and 43 females participated in the experiment. They were all Fudan University students with no real-life driving experience. The participants were grouped into two, X and Y. For each group, we had easy, difficult, and sufficient and insufficient landmarks. For group X, we had 39 participants, which comprised of 18 males and 21 females. For group Y, we had 40 participants, which comprised of 18 males and 22 females. For the experimental status apparatus, we used BiPro-I for tracking iData, a Logitech G27 steering wheel controller for controlling the virtual agent vehicle in the driving environment. We use also Autodesk Maya and SRCT engine in designing landmarks, intersection, buildings, traffic lights, routes, and cars, while a Unity 3D device was used to develop the game platform. For the landmarks used in this particular experiment, a convenience store, a gas station, a basketball court, a McDonald's, a post office, a Walmart, and a church. For the continuation on experimental apparatus, this driving system kept track of different psychophysiological and driving performance features of the participants. For the experimental design and procedure, remember we had two different groups, X and Y. So for each group, there were two sessions, X1 and X2, Y1 and Y2. For X1, this is where we had sufficient landmarks and easy routes. For X2, we had insufficient landmarks and easy route. For Y1, we had sufficient landmarks and difficult routes. For Y2, insufficient landmarks and difficult routes. So the two sessions of each group were the same, they were of the same difficulty levels. However, the number of landmarks differs. For X1, we had 7 landmarks. For X2, we had 3 landmarks. Y1 has 7 landmarks. For Y2, we had 5 landmarks. For the easy routes, we had 3 turns, intersections, and 3 traffic lights. While for the difficult routes, we had 5 turns and intersections and 5 traffic lights. So each participant completed 2 sessions of the assigned group. It's either group X or group Y. For the experimental design and procedure continues. Before the commencement of the experiment, the baseline data were collected. Then a video tutorial was given to the participants. And this video tutorial will help the participant to see the landmarks that they are going to see along the routes, and it also introduce to the participant the route that they are going to use in order to reach the assigned destination. This particular video was played only once, and the participants were asked to memorize all the landmarks along the routes. The instructor then set up the eye tracking and heartbeat sensors on the participants' bodies and recorded them correctly. Each participant was then asked to carry out the assigned task. Then during the driving, the participant will be using the landmarks to determine the right turn to take in order to reach the assigned destination. Whenever a subject made a wrong turn, they will be dragged back to the starting point and watch the video tutorial, then start the driving all over again. The performance of the tutorial sessions was not considered in the data analysis. They were just included to help improve the subject's driving performance. For the data collection, the recorded data by the eye tracker were pre-processed in order to remove the unwanted data and reduce the noise. Different data were also extracted for the driving performance, as can be seen in table 1. We had completion time, wrong turns, and barricade counts. For the psychophysiological measures versus cognitive load, that's I'm trying to discuss on the result collected or generated after performing the experiment. For the heart rate result, that's in BPM, show that X using that's group X using sufficient landmarks was significantly different from group Y using insufficient landmarks. For this particular analysis, a t-test method was employed. For the heart rate of group Y, it was also significantly higher than that of group X. Additionally, the heart rate of group X1 was significantly different from that of group X2. And the heart rate of group X2 was significantly higher than that of group X1. Likewise, the heart rate of group Y1 was significantly different from that of Y2. And the heart rate of Y2 was significantly higher than that of group Y1. The continuation on the psychophysiological measures and versus cognitive load. Furthermore, the result of the fulfilled size, that's in MM, show that group X using sufficient landmarks was significantly different from group Y using insufficient landmarks. The pupil size of group Y was significantly larger than that of group X. Additionally, the pupil size of group X1 was significantly different from that of group X2. And the pupil size of group X2 was significantly larger than that of X1. Likewise, the pupil size of group Y1 was significantly different from that of Y2, and the pupil side of Y2 was significantly larger than that of, Y1. This result obtained from all the groups were associated with the nature of roots and the use of insufficient landmarks. For the driving performance and cognitive load, the result of the driving performance measures, as shown in table 2, show that a significant difference between X and Y. Likewise, the performance measures of X1 were, significantly different from that of X2, and the performance of, of Y1 were also significantly different from that of Y2, as shown in the table 2. The performance of,
but we have 2 minutes more.
Pardon?
2 minutes more, so if you wanted to conclude.
Sorry, I cannot hear you clearly, but I will soon round it up.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, the performance features of participants who drove the difficult route with insufficient landmarks were significantly higher than that who drove easy routes and sufficient landmarks. Moreover, participants who drove the difficult route with insufficient landmarks committed more mistakes than their easy route counterparts. For the navigational efficiency versus cognitive load, a higher completion time means that a participant has to use more mental capacity to identify the right way to follow, resulting in a more significant workload. The results show that the completion time of X1 was significantly different from of X2, and the completion time of X2 was also higher than that of X1. Likewise, for the completion time of Y1 was significantly, different from Y2, and the completion time of Y2 was significantly higher than that of Y1. And for the influence of, landmarks and route on gender, as can be seen in the in table 4, the experimental results show that female participants generally drop slower than their male counterparts. This resulted in spending much time completing the exercise due to cognitive, load. Moreover, the mean change applied on cognitive load and the completion time has revealed, the degree of this effect. As can be seen in table 4, the mean change of landmarks for female was more significant than that of males. This shows that insufficient landmarks have more influence on female than males. Additionally, the mean change of difficult route for males was, barely different from that of females. This shows that the effect of difficult route on navigational efficiency is the same for both genders. In conclusion, this study investigated the effect of land driving system. All the stated objectives of the study had been achieved by analyzing both the psychophysiological and performance features of the subjects. A statistical method was used for this analysis. Insufficient landmarks and difficult route were used to trigger this cognitive workload in the participant. The participant used the landmarks to locate the right direction to reach the pre-assigned destination based on the knowledge acquired during the at the beginning of the exercise. This result would help improve the use of landmarks and the design of the driving routes. Additionally, it could be used to analyze traffic safety using drivers' cognition and performance. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for the presentation and the great effort. So yeah, please unmute yourself because I'm hearing an echo.
Pardon?
No worries. Okay. Okay, the Professor Miss, it's over to you.
All right, thanks so much. It was a really interesting paper, and I think it was really well done as well. So it was a really pleasure to follow your presentation, and I think it has really important implications. However, the discipline where I come from, we actually distinguish between what we call natural experiments and experiments, right? So meaning that experimental design that you used is kind of, in a way, a little bit like artificial, because you have to select your target group and you have to make the rules and so on. And in that sense, I think maybe you could briefly discuss some of the limitations of your study. Thank you.
Okay, thank
Please
you.
turn
Thank
on
you.
your mic. Your mic is not on.
Yeah. Yeah. I've asked you to unmute.
Okay, thank you, Prof, for the for the clarification. First of all, one of the limitations of this particular experiment was that it was conducted using virtual reality, machine. So I think maybe in the future, what we are going to do is to collect the data using real-time driving experiment, so that we could see the actual effect of this this cognitive load on the participant while driving in reality. So this are some of the the limitations we got during this pattern in this particular experiment.
Yeah, thank you. And obviously also it depends on the group with whom you are experimenting. I mean, usually at university, it's so easy for us to experiment with students, but if you would maybe choose a different target group,
Yes,
maybe the results would be different. But thank you. Thanks so much. Great.
You're welcome, sir. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you for the presentation and the informative discussion. Okay, then moving forward to the next presentation. Sorry, I can hear myself back. Could you please just mute yourself? Okay. So moving forward, we will now discuss a paper and
Usman, please
comparative
mute your mic. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I'm trying to mute everyone. Okay, sorry. Okay, then moving forward, the next paper would be comparative analysis between macro and micro accuracy imbalance data set for moving review classification provided by or presented by Ms. Noor on behalf of the co-authors. So it's over to you, and please let's try to be strict on the timeline to behind any delay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'll try. So let me share my screen first.
Sure, over there. Okay, perfect. We can see the screen now. Could you just make it full screen? Yeah.
Okay, hi, morning. So my title will be the comparative analysis between micro and micro accuracy in imbalanced dataset for movie review classifications. So this paper written by me with my two supervisors, which are Associate Professor Dr. Zainda Othman and also Dr. Rizwan Yaakob. So moving on, these are the summarization of the abstract. So the research focused on text classification, and the text classification, we move to the multi-class classification instead of binary. And the problem with the multi-class classifications are the performance accuracy and also imbalanced data set. So this problem lead to the issues of lower accuracy and also lower performance when we are performing multi-class classification towards the text data. So we focus to test this data on three algorithms, which are linear support vector machines, knife Bayes, and random forest for these data sets only. And the results shows that micro accuracy have slightly better accuracy with 87.3% rather than the macro accuracy up to 72.5%. So this is the summarization. Let's proceed to the related works first. The reason why we chose these three algorithms to perform on our data sets because of their own advantages. So for LSBM, it is able to classify linear and non-linear problem, which our data sets have this problem because this is using the real text data from Twitter. And then LSBM also have better sparseness and generalization ability, and also able to minimize a bound of generalization error. Whereas knife Bayes classifier, it has simplicity and powerful probabilistic classification. Knife Bayes also able to increase efficiency of feature selection and able to reduce dimensionalities of feature vector. while the third algorithm, random forest, better in improving feature selection, where during the text feature selection from the image from the Twitter, random forest occur to have better features in that. And also, random forest able to integrate with text attraction method. And random forest also better than decision tree. Decision tree is most powerful algorithm in categorizing binary classification, but in multi-class, it turns out random forest seems to be better. However, for my data sets, we cannot distinguish which of these three is better. And also from the measurement metrics, we cannot distinguish micro accuracy or macro accuracy will perform better in measure the accuracy. So to prove that, we performed experiments towards 3 data sets focused on the movie review. So I have retrieved several thousands of data sets from the Twitter reviews and recommendation from these 3 analyses, from these 3 medium, HBO, Netflix viewer, and also Disney Plus viewer, only focus on these 3 movie reviews and recommendations. And how we experimental set up this experiment, we just simply divide the data sets from the whole warehouse to training and testing. So 70% to train and 30% to test from all the total data sets by using the 3 algorithm separately. Okay, so then we perform the performance comparison by using 6 metrics measure. We took the micro and macro accuracy, precision, recall, F-score, sensitivity, and specificity. We cannot only take the accuracy alone because it might have different value weightage that give reasons towards the data sets that we collect. Different data sets have different data types that carry the weight. Okay, so we perform by using 3 algorithms, the SVM. We calculate the similarity of the text to classify by using the hyperplane lines to distinguish where are the categories of the text. And then by random forest, we calculate the similarity of predicted classes for each text. And then for naive Bayes is more similar to random forest. We calculate the predictable of occurrences of the text belonging to which categories. So from there, we come up with this result, which means the macro accuracy and also micro accuracy have given different values. So based on the multi-class classification, by using all these 3 algorithms, it shows have that the micro accuracy turns out to give better accuracy when we combine the metrics with others metrics to generate the classification result. So even though the highest precision given by the SVM, but the accuracy highest by the random forest. This is the main reason why we combine the metrics to measure the performance. We cannot only take one matrix to distinguish that, okay, random forest give the better accuracy in multi-class classification, but we need to look at other matrices also, whether the combination of the matrix will produce which algorithm provide a better performance for text classification in this movie review sets. So for data sets B also shows that micro accuracy perform higher, but this is solely on the SVM method. So for data set B, SVM perform better than the others two. And by data set C, movie review on the Disney Plus, it shows that random forest give a better random forest give a similar value of macro and also micro accuracy due to the data set have balanced class label. The class label, all 3 class label have a balanced total amount of sets. So there's no imbalanced data set involved for this data. That's why the macro and micro accuracy give the similar value. So as a conclusion, we propose multiple metrics to measure the performance of multi-class classifier and successfully analyze the influence of imbalanced datasets towards various classification algorithms. Unlike binary classification, multi-class classification considered as sensitive datasets where the accuracy may easily tempered by the sample size. High precision result may not solely reliable to determine better accuracy when dealing with imbalanced dataset. Micro accuracy majorly used for binary classification, as micro accuracy is usually computed to provide alternative for determining the accuracy by considering each classes individually. However, not every multi-class dataset can be fixed by using micro accuracy alone for its metrics. Thus, for further experiment in this analysis, we can perform balancing and optimizing the algorithm itself before classification takes place. So for this experiment, what we can conclude that we might take super vector machine as SVM produce a higher performance of micro accuracy and enhance, optimize the algorithm for different types of text data sets. That's the brief explanation of my research, of our research, and these are the references that we read throughout the review session. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you for the presentation. It's over to you, Dr.
Is there
Thanks so
any
much.
question?
Yeah, thank you. Thanks so much. It was really great to follow your presentation and very, very interesting work. I have actually two questions. My first question is that you selected reviews from Netflix, HBO, and Disney Plus. Would you like to comment? Why did you select them from those three, and maybe why not for some other sources? So that's my first question. And my second question is that what can be some practical implications of your findings? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. For the first one, would be about the data set. Why did I choose the data sets, right? So for the beginning, the reason I chose the data sets from the movie review, because I'm doing this research on the text analysis on Twitter. So the reason why I'm using review from the movie, because it has tremendous reviews from the Twitter, from the media social, but we cannot fully utilize it. So the reason I'm using this, we can take it as an advantage and significant to promote. For example, then we can suggest to our providers, subscribers of the movie, for suggesting what types of movies that can benefit them the most by using this analysis findings. So the reason, because during this COVID, during this pandemic, this endemic things, so most people spend time at homes doing works and also watch movies that they haven't seen for a long time because of the overload in our work. We're going out and about, then we just stay at home, and now we suddenly watch movies. So it's like one motivation for us. Why not I just take this advantage where we have lots of reviews about the movie and took some opportunity to do a prediction. Can we predict this movie can be recommended, and these types of movie can be also recommended to be subscribed by our TV station, for example. Is that answering your question, sir?
Yes, it does. However, maybe one thing to consider is kind of self-selection bias. Who are the people who are actually submitting reviews? Are they, if I'm the one who's not submitting reviews and I have preferences, and different type of people are submitting reviews, then they may not match my preferences. Let's put it in those simple terms. So this is more like reference to those sort of practical implications, as you said in the last comment. but thanks so much, and I really appreciate your work, and it was really nice presentation.
Thank you.
Yeah, enjoy.
Thank
All right,
thank
thank
you.
you.
Yeah, thank you for the presentation and the discussion. Then moving forward, we will discuss another topic titled as Food Constraint Satisfaction System based on genetic and random walk algorithm, presented by Mr. Ali Kumar from Thailand. So it's over to you, sir.
Oh, thank you very much. Let me share my slide. Or share the screen. Or how to share this? Oh, I didn't post this.
Yeah, from the green button on the bottom, you can find share screen and select your screen.
Okay, going to share. No, I think yeah, I can go to the. Okay, let me take my computer. I think I made a mistake. I should. Yes, so actually I didn't prepare this, so that's my mistake anyway. Thank you for waiting.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. You can take your time.
I had a class just before that's where I was.
Appreciate
it. I had to take time. Okay. I hope we are. This is not this one. Sorry. Oh, that's the one. Okay, thank you for the patience. I think I have my time now. Let me share this. My topic name is, I think, already announced. My name is Ali Kumar. I'm from Thailand. Okay, let me start the topic. This is
because we
research.
can't see the slides. Yeah, I'm sorry, we can see this just the gray screen. We can't see the presentation.
You cannot see the presentation?
I'm sorry, no, we cannot.
How to play it?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you see now? Share.
Share it again, please.
Yes. Can you see now?
Yeah, now we can see it. Okay. Go ahead. All the best in your presentation.
Sorry, now we see. Can you see now?
Yes, I can see it now. You can go ahead. All the best.
Okay. So I think okay, this is the research. Stop sharing. Yeah, I don't know. Yes. Okay. So this is research which is part of previously carried out research, mainly focus on food constraint satisfaction system. And here it used some sort of algorithm such as a body mass index, basal metabolic rate, and a genetic algorithm, and a random walk algorithm. Especially this research is focusing on obese people and how to provide their enough calorie food that can prevent them further obese. So this research concept has we have to find out the overweight daily needed food calorie, saturated daily needed calorie value from their body, body mass index, and basal metabolic rate values. And also we have to find out the total food or daily food set from breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And we have a food list which is based on both Asian and Western food data sets. And the overall daily food calories, the total or sum of this food items. That means the user must select all this food, then only it can calculate overall daily food calorie. Similarly, research concept, this is one of the constraint satisfaction problem solution, how to provide user constraints towards the food. So we have a food list, and we use two type of algorithm in order to satisfy the food choice for the user without providing exceeding calorie food. So we have a BMI table, and this table showing the different range is a normal weight range. Before is a underweight, and after that obesity. And these are the calculations to find out overweight from BMI. Equation number starting from 1 is a BMI calculation. Then this equation 2, weight overweight, and within overweight we can calculate some upper different range of weight value, overweight minimum, and equation number 4. And equation number 5, lower overweight and overweight maximum. So why this calculation means, because of this calculation we can find out how many days they needed with the given food to reduce their weight or to maintain their weight without further increase their weight. And also we use BMR equation, Harris-Benedict equation, that is for men and women, separate equations. And daily needed calorie for a person is calculated from this physical activity and their BMR value. And from this we can calculate, we could calculate the daily needed saturated value. It is subtracting 500 calories, a standard way to approximate the weight of consumption, calorie consumption. Similarly, we can calculate from the equation 9 and 4 how many number of days, minimum number of days needed to reach a weight normal BMI level with the help of the selected calorie DNC saturation. Similarly, maximum number of days. So you can see here around 8 people with obese people, BMI, BMR, then their saturated needed calorie, daily needed calorie saturated means this is the calorie they must use in order to maintain their BMI. Then minimum number of days and maximum number of days is already calculated. Similarly, food constraint calculation, we have to find the variables, food variables based on the food data set. And we have to categorize the people, vegetarians and non-vegetarians, or both the category, no problem. So we have 20 food variables are selected. Here is given all the variables. And finally, this is the description of a constraint satisfaction problem, because a problem with the constraint, how to solve the constraint with the help of some variables. So here we have considered a vegetarian person who selected following food variable for the breakfast. The system will generate automatically the food constraint. You can read, but I'm not going to read. This is a constraint. And based on the constraint, we are going to use a GA to solve first part of this section and compare this with the random walk algorithm. Let us see how the GA perform here with the chromosomes. We need to generate chromosome population based on the breakfast, lunch, and dinner food items. Let us see the chromosome, which is calculated already here. These are the 4 chromosomes are used for by GA, and this is the total calorie. You can see here, this is the breakfast food selection, lunch and dinner selection. And similarly, these are all randomly created because the GA nature, and it calculate this value, okay, or the fitness rate and overall daily calorie rate, because total calorie is calculated. But we assume that a user has this calorie DNC saturated, but the system should provide a particular food set based on this value. But here you can see small, everything is small, and the system must undergo further iteration. And you can see the next crossover happen. Again, still, it is still not reached this calorie food value. So the system will continue until it will reach some level. Then it will reach at the iteration, the population 19. The 19 population, it could provide the DNC saturated food set. So whatever the food set right now, we don't know because the name break the M is a milk item, fruit item, etc. But I can show you that food data set later. So it's some sort of data mining, and the user satisfied and the DNC satisfied food already collected after 19th population of the GA. But I cannot show all the data, it's too big and to show here. Similarly, the same thing is compared with a random walk algorithm. And similarly, you can see the random walk algorithm, each node is selected, randomly selected a first node. So you can see the first node is this one, node 0. Actually, the 3 food set, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And it calculate the total calorie and node evaluation. What is node evaluation? So this one's overall total calorie minus the saturated daily food calorie. So anyway, we assume that the DNC set for the user is this calorie 2436.67, but still these calories are selected mined by the algorithm is too bigger than this, and further. So these are the food items of this node 0. We can see breakfast, lunch, dinner from the data set already created by the system, but it's not satisfied because this is too high, but we need this food set. Hence it continue until it stopped somewhere number 7. Yeah, 7 it could reach proper food, and also number 12. Node number 12 also acceptable, node number 13 acceptable, node number 16 acceptable, random walk. But here, for the random walk, there is no termination criteria set in the program. So it continue, it will show all the suitable food within this calorie from the data set. So that is the main part of this algorithm. And you can see here the simulations conclude that the employed algorithms are efficient, solving food constraint satisfaction. And the GA demonstrated excellent performance, and random walk also outperformed GA. And this test succeed because of it can solve all the food constraints of a user, vegetarian, non-vegetarian, people with onion, without onion, garlic, all type of Asians, Western food can be solved. And this is a previous paper we published based on this part of food recommendation. We use KNN and other algorithm backpropagation neural network. So this is a food data set we used here. It is one of the European and Western food data set with 5,000 food values with their calories is here, and and our algorithms mine suitable food item with the proper calorie from this list, and it automatically categorizes breakfast and lunch and dinner food items. Okay, so is here. Sorry. Yeah, next is a simulation. We write the program in C++, and it's a huge program. And this is the way to calculate the BMI value. We do a simulation and extra weight value. And this is the way to calculate DNC saturated value from this system, from our system. It's just for experimental, in order to make a real system. That's all from my side. Thank you, everyone. Hello, sir.
Yeah, thank you for the presentation.
Yeah, it's quite fast.
Yeah, it was really informative. Yeah, thank you for that.
Because too much equations are here. That's why I cannot talk equation. Someone should read it.
Yeah, it's totally fine, but the idea reached us clearly, and it was really informative and helpful. Okay, so it's over to you, Professor, if you have any question, comment.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Sorry for my delay.
Thanks so much for the paper and presentation. Maybe you could comment a little bit more on the practical implications of your paper. I mean, are the practical implications primarily for all of us, or I mean, in this case, people living in Asian countries who consume food, or can you also make some policy recommendations for the governments or health departments of the governments? Yeah, a little bit maybe expand on that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, so this anyway, this food test, this is just for testing. Actually, we are building a real system, and we have tested many sections. My job is to test this side, food constraint, what type of food a person like, because Asians, vegetarian, inside vegetarian, garlic they don't eat, onion they don't eat, milk they cannot eat, like that. So all the constraints are testing, and with the given data set. Right now we choose a data set with the 5,000 food values. We are more for globally, and this system become one of the mobile applications soon available. Yeah, so I think I cannot answer the explanation right now. The government, I think it's open forum. We are doing this research openly, and nothing to do with any it's focused health concern, obesity prevention. And right now we have problem. We don't care the people with the thin, they want to make fat. That part is not here. It is another section. Anyway, it's interesting work from my side. I was doing with the GA side. Other people are doing Android, iOS part. Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you. And I also stress on the same idea because I'm following this dietitian between time to time. So yeah, it's really helpful to use this application. All the best in the rest of the progress. And now, since we missed one of the presenters, I want to get back to the second presentation with Mr. Vincent, who would present the paper Citizens' Use of Social Media, a thematic analysis on digital co-production in disaster management. So it's over to you, sir, to present. So if possible, just to, yeah, it's fitting now. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, it's fitting now. We can see the slides and hear you clearly. Go ahead, and all the best in your presentation.
All right. Forward. Give me a second. Okay, sorry for my supposedly my connection was low an hour ago. Okay, so my respect to the members of this panel and everyone here joining at the ICICT 2022. So good morning there, and it's good evening here. So I'm Mr. Vicente A. Pitugo from the College of Computing and Information Sciences from the Caraga State University in the Philippines. And I'll present my our work called Citizens' Use of Social Media, a thematic analysis and digital co-production in the use for disaster management. And for my agenda for today, so I'll be discussing a brief introduction of the topic, and then we have to proceed to the objective and the research questions, down to the theory and the methodology, the results and findings, conclusions, and future works. Okay, so disaster management has been a forefront for research in the 21st century as countries around the world have faced tremendous challenges relating to the overwhelming increase of disaster occurrences. So every year, disaster destruct millions of lives and properties worldwide. Humanities have suffered several times, not only in terms of economic and infrastructure losses, but tragically with significant death. So according to GRID, so it has registered 7,348 disaster events worldwide over the last 20 years, from 2020 to 2019. In total, disasters took approximately 1.23 million lives and affected more than 4 billion people in summary. So disaster also contributed to economic and financial loss of approximately $2.97 trillion worldwide. So in the Philippines is currently visited by disasters due to its geographic location, making it susceptible to many threats, including frequent typhoons, earthquakes, and 53 active volcanoes. So the Philippines ranked 9th in the world as the most affected country from extreme weather events in the 2020 World Risk Index. So to mitigate further with this effect, the government has formulated several disaster risk and reduction frameworks, including we have the RA 10121, or the Philippine Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Act of 2010. This is the country's leading legislative framework and governance mechanism that drives disaster risk reduction and management across different governance levels. So also the creation of the NDRRMC, which acts as the highest decision-making body in institutional structures, comprising representatives from various agencies, and the creation of localized DRR from the regional level down to the provincial, municipality, city, and to the barangay, the smallest unit in a society. So still, there are issues and challenges in the implementations of this disaster risk reduction management in the Philippines. One, roles and functions of line agencies are somewhat overlapping. The methods for disaster risk mitigation is somewhat not so clear. Institutionalizing local government units are not so that much. And then the inclusion of local community leaders are not part. The activation of civil society organization, and there is not so harmonized framework, and there is a limited research and academic scholarly work for a DRR in the Philippines. So from a theory, we anchored our theory in the co-production theory. So this is term produced by Eleanor Ostrom, it's a process by which inputs are converted into products and services from people who are not in the same organization. So the idea stems from studying the prevailing urban governance theories that underline policy recommendations of significant centralization. So co-production theory directly involves of customers into the production and discourages centralization. So for the government and the citizens to collaborate and to foster a social capital. So this was in 1980s by public policy and public administration. So the emergence of ICT makes it easy also for public users or public workers to communicate with the people, giving rise to a nascent possibility of co-producing public service, both collective and individual collaboration. So the term ICT-enabled co-production was formed, and this refers to the use of ICT tools to support participation in co-producing public services. One of the ICT tool is the social media for co-production. So we anchored it to social media and as an ICT tool during disaster management. So big down, also it's critical that ICT is developed in promoting innovation and collaboration among government and the people. However, the evolving and dynamic nature of citizens to participate and to produce in technology-enabled disaster management technology still needs to be explored. And this paper tries to explore the dynamics of how citizens could be in Butuan City, this is southern part of the Philippines, for utilizing social media in co-producing insightful information with the government in mitigating disaster risk and managing its effect. So for our research questions, we have RQ1. What are the factors that lead citizens to utilize social media during disaster and crisis situations? And RQ2, how social media facilitated citizens in co-producing valuable information for disaster management? And for our materials and methods, so the underlying essence of the co-production theory is a process, and it is ideal for a qualitative investigation. So we followed, based on the framework, we adopted a model from Myers in 2020. So it's qualitative research design. So for our research design, it's a case study. So we focus on an urban city in the South Philippines, which is Butuan City. For data collection techniques, so we conducted interviews among citizens who use social media during disaster management or disaster events, and then document analysis on some documents prior to the disaster, okay? And then for analysis and interpretation, so we anchored it into a reflexive thematic analysis to gain insight into to provide some theories or themes that emerged during the process. So as our results and findings, so the reflections and the research question. So what are the factors that lead citizens to utilize social media? So we have two themes for that. One is socialization and the other is altruism. So the entertainment or the communication to be updated to information in what's happening in the world and trends, being watchful and learning to enhance skills. It's a part of socialization even in disaster times. Altruism is also one of the factors that citizens tend to use social media during a disaster and crisis situations. So act of altruism includes, what's this? All right, sorry. So includes helping others or helping those in need. So that's one. So helping others without getting help or getting extra help from someone else. Now, for the RQ2, how social media facilitate citizens in producing valuable information for disaster management. We have three themes. We have collective action, collaboration, and the venue for engagement. So together, a group of people whose goal is to enhance their condition and achieve a common objective is called a collective action. So if a group of reasonable and self-interested individuals understood that they would benefit from the specific level of social action, they are likely to do it. Now, social media also allows new paradigm of knowledge management that includes both official and informal communications, as well as the cooperation through a number of apps. So there might be a collaboration between the citizens and the government. And of course, the venue for engagement. So a lot of things happening in social media, so especially in disaster times. Now, so for our conclusions, so Filipinos, particularly Butuanos, the residents of Butuan, which is our case site, so collaborate on crisis management via social media by sharing and posting their knowledge of a particular catastrophic scenario. So which will be addressed by the government authorities in order to request assistance and respond to the disaster instead of the usual way of getting information from radios or TVs or other communication means. Then by investigating the dynamics of citizens using social media for disaster management, the theory of co-production was able to provide insightful information such as collaboration, act of altruism, and active engagement during unforeseeable disaster phenomena. So for our future works, so while the study focuses just on the use of Facebook, so it is likely to evaluate other social media platforms also, as well as they may reveal a various perspectives also on how individuals use other social media infrastructure. So we just cater those using Facebook. So we're not able to cater those other citizens that use other also social media apps. Second is to further investigate other case sites, LGU. So it might good also to expand the project, not to include other local government units, not only in Butuan City, but also other cities or other regions that also experience catastrophic events every year. And the third future work is to further investigate also other actors of co-production, not only citizens. So we just opted to have various random citizens, but then it would be also good to consider also those civil society organizations, those non-government agencies, those transport group and private sectors, that somehow it might yield another insight or knowledge on how they will be using social media for disaster management. Okay, so I guess that's all for my presentation for today. So have a good day and good night, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the presentation, and all the best for the rest of research. Hopefully no one will face any disaster in the whole world. May God bless everyone. So it's over to you, Professor, for your discussion and the questions.
All right, thanks so much. It was a great paper, very interesting to follow. And it was particularly for me interesting because a lot of my own work is actually influenced by Elinor Ostrom. So for instance, with my co-authors, we have studied open source software movement from the perspective of Ostrom's theories, and also published a book about it by MIT Press. So in that sense, it was very interesting for me. But I guess my question is now also related to Ostrom and more like a theoretical underpinnings of your work. You use the term co-production. At the same time, especially in the context of digitalization and ICTs, I have sort of tried to use the term co-creation. And if you do some kind of literature review, you see there is a lot of debate about, what do we mean by those different terms? Why do we use co-creation, or why do we use co-production, or there is also co-design and so on. So I don't know whether you did it on purpose, or was it sort of a willful choice, or are you kind of using co-creation, co-production interchangeably? Anyway, it would be great if you would comment on that, and perhaps it's also something that you can also clarify in the presentation, that why do you use this term and not another term. Thank you.
Thank you for that, sir. Yeah, so yeah, I understand there are four codes in co-production, and actually we have Bolivar also published in 2021 the term digital co-production. So today we will be we are developing our paper will be focusing on the digital co-production presenting onto the 4 different codes in co-production: the co-delivery, co-assessment, co-design, and co-evaluation. So it's a big thing for us now to evolve and to implement those that is very focused on those different codes in co-production. Thank you for that.
Maybe just
Thank
to
you.
follow up, but at the same time, also there is a considerable debate whether you use co-creation or co-production. If you just sort of Google it, you will see there is like extensive literature on that. So maybe this is also something, you know, I do understand that you have those sort of 4 categories on the co-production, but then the question is that why do you use co-production and not co-creation? So maybe that would be something that you can clarify, because we do have this discussion in the literature. Thank you.
Yes, I will do that, sir.
Thank you for the informative session and the discussion. So moving forward, we will have the last presentation from Ms. Zishari. I'm sorry, I don't have the introduction, so I will ask her to share the screen from their side and go ahead with the presentation. It's over to you. I'm not sure if you are with us. Sorry, I've already texted you before. Okay, I'm really sorry. Looks like that there is some technical issues with that presentation. Thus, we are moving to the final part of this informative session. It was really helpful to everyone to get more information about all sides and dimensions of technology. So based on that, I sincerely thank you, our authors, for the excellent presentations and contribution to the session and knowledge, and for being part of this international conference. I hope that this session was informative to every one of you. So thank you again for the participation and for being part of this. All of the presenters will receive their digital certification within a couple of business days. Furthermore, the papers have been already forwarded to Springer for publication purposes. It's supposed to take 5 to 6 months. However, keep an eye on your email if you receive anything from our side, I mean ICICT 2022, to make sure that nothing is pending at your side. I also thank Dr. Melis for being the chair of this session. He really helped everyone from his rich experience. So thank you, Professor. And thank you also on behalf of ICICT team and the Global Knowledge Research Foundation. Even though that we are going online, but we still have the opportunity to have some good memories of taking a screenshot instead of picture. So if possible, to turn on your cameras. Based on that, we can document this moment, and for sure we hope to see you next year with more improved work and better presentation. Okay. All the best again, and I will count. You can smile. Then 3, 2, 1. Okay, thank you for the presentations and for the session. We hope to see you soon, and for sure you can join the following sessions if you are interested and if you have time in the rest of papers. Thank you again and have a safe day. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Thank you also, sir. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye. Have a good night.